that by taking away the privileges of the prisoners, you're essentially taking away their constitutional rights. But what we're proposing on the affirmative side is that by keeping basic civil and human rights, which include the right to practice religion freely, right to medical treatment, right to personal property, right to visitation, right to adequate food that sustains an average person, the right to bathe and not be punished cruelly or unusually, the right to due process, the right to administrative appeals, right to access the parole process, right to equal protection by the 14th Amendment, right to be notified of all changes against them, right to receive written statements of evidence to use in reaching their deposition, and right to file civil suit against another person. These are their civil and their human rights. So we're not taking them away. Obviously the privileges of, weightlifting, that's not exactly in those rights. So by taking away the privileges, we're basically saying, you get your human rights, you get your civil rights, but you need to use your time more productively by going into programs that are going to help you, like I had mentioned earlier, the parental, teaching them how to be better parents, teaching them how to function better in stressful situations. For example, my opponent mentioned that lifting weights, for example, is a way for them to relieve stress. Well, what happens when they get put in a real world situation where there's no weights around? They can't relieve the stress. They have to deal with it right then and there. So instead, by actually having these programs that taught them how to handle stress, how to handle anger, how to handle wanting to be vengeful against somebody, they're actually going to have a better chance of introducing themselves to the civilian world and actually able to create a better relationship with the society rather than be somebody that they look down upon or somebody that they're against all of the time. Another point I want to make is, sorry, 1 second. Okay, right, sorry. Another point basically is, when you're in prison, it's a punishment. You committed a crime that society looked down upon, and now you are being punished for it. Part of their punishments are basically having laundry services that take one piece of clothing and they give them a new one on a weekly basis. Conjugal visits that are actually, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but they're scheduled extended visits during which an inmate is permitted to spend several hours or days in private, usually with a legal spouse. While these parties may engage in sexual intercourse, generally these are recognized for basis of permitting such a visit to modern times, to preserve family and everything. But if they wanted to do this for them, then they could have just given them house arrest. There's no point in there's no point in using tax dollars and using society to use this money towards this when they're giving the exact same privileges and the exact same rights they would have been given if they would have had house arrest. Given there are some criminals who have, who do have more severity to their crimes and everything, but the ones who are very mild, the drug offenders, give them house arrest if you're going to give them all the privileges. At the end of the day, they all have a life. The life in prison is probably going to be better than their life in the civilian world because of the privileges and all the amenities that they really get.